All right, guys, welcome to the second section of this look at Maschine Jam. We're going to be creating a track. So we're going to dive right into it. And in this video, we are going to create a drum pattern using a drum kit that I pulled up making samples from my Future-Bass drum pack, just dragging and dropping them in from the browser. And it's laid out much like the way a typical Maschine pack or kit would be, where we have kick, snare, hi-hat, other hi-hat, kick, snare, more hi-hats, right? So before we get into this, actually just building the kit, let's look at some cool things we can do on the Maschine Jam interface and talk about how I integrate Maschine into my workflow. So I have never actually just created a track from start to finish in the Maschine software or hardware or a combination of both. I always export things and play different elements inside my DAW, which as you can see is Logic X. And that's just how I like to use the Maschine interface. And I know some people do create completely within Maschine, and that is fine, but I grew up using Logic before Maschine ever existed, so that's why I use it. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to look at this different mode, these various modes real quick in Maschine Jam. So when I'm clicking back and forth between these, you know what I'm doing. This will be especially helpful if you're part of the Maschine family. So there's this new song mode you can see right here. This is top button. What this does is it lets you see all your groups, which is kind of cool. So if you're new to Maschine, basically it works with, you have different groups, and inside of groups you can create different patterns, and you can set those patterns to correlate to different scenes. So right now, you see it says scene right here. We have A, B, C, and D. And inside of those groups, we have the drum group, which is called ESW Future-Bass Drums, and we have a vocal chop, and they're all color-coded for you guys to see. So you can see this on the controller. Here's my first group, here's my second, here's my third, here's my fourth. Now these various illuminations correlating to these groups mean that those are patterns associated with said group. So in group 2, which is green, there are two patterns. One pattern I created, and one is empty. So there's no pattern loaded inside of group 1, which will ultimately be our drum group. Now that's kind of cool because you also have, under this, you have a step mode, which is like a step sequencer, and you have the pad mode. And if you're a Maschine user, this pad mode will make a lot of sense. It's a numeric section that gives you pads 1 through 16, and this is where our drum kit's loaded. Okay, so we have we have all the different elements of that. Now, a really cool feature to the Maschine Jam interface is that you can change the levels with these touch strips down here. So right now, you can see that as I play this, these various samples and cells, for instance, this snare, it's really quiet. You see that it all plays on this first touch strip. That's because I'm on a group level touch strip. So if I turn it down, I'm still playing, as you can see, right? But it turns down the whole group. Now, if I want to affect just individual cells, hold down level and hit one of the cells. So now this first one will just be the kick. Second one, the snap. So I'm going to turn the snare up. So take this touch strip and turn it up. All right, so the cool thing about Maschine Jam is for sure the ability to literally just jam out and have fun. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start to create a drum groove using the pad, and then we're going to add to that groove using the new step sequencer, which is a part of Maschine Jam. So first things first, though, my scene's only 1 bar long. That's not going to do. So I'm going to hit Shift, I'm going to hit pattern length or solo, and use the track wheel to extend that out to 4 bars, okay? And we're just going to solo again. So now we have a 4-bar set, that group set to a 4-bar scene. And we're going to go back to the pad mode here. Okay, and I have some percussion loaded in on a track already. Okay, and you can see in here there. So what we're going to do now is we are going to start to play this. So I'm going to arm Maschine, and we are selected on the right group. And I'm going to record in a little drum groove. All right, so I'm going to hit Shift and quantize, and hopefully that will quantize my playing a little bit better. All right, so that sounds about right. And what we're gonna do now is we could play hi-hats like this, right? We could go. Right, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a new feature inside of Maschine Jam, and I'm gonna hit the step button up at the top. And what that's gonna allow me to do is it's gonna allow me to basically use a step sequencer. And if we play this, you can see the light illuminating, flashing across. That's basically showing you your position in the scene. And you can use the D-pad to go to different sections of the scene that aren't showing up on the grid. So this will start 2 bars, and then bar 3 and 4 are over here. So I'm going to add in hi-hats. Okay, and to do that, what I'm going to do is I am going to just I'm going to select the actual sample right here on the cell, and then I'm going to put it on that first hit right there, and I want it to happen for a consistent duration. You'll see how this works. And now if I hit play, okay, let's do the same thing on the back half of that scene. Okay, and we can add in a couple other hits to make it a little bit more interesting. We can do this. All right, we can even get in a open hi-hat as well. We can, let's try putting it, let's try this one. Okay, let's go to the second half of that, and we will put one right here as well. Actually, we'll put it right there. All right, so there is how easy it can be to use a combination of the step sequencer as well as the typical pad mode to create a drum groove. I might add in one more. Let's add in this flick top. Okay, and we'll turn that down. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go arrow over, turn it down, and we can listen to that as it plays. All right, so that sounds pretty cool. We got a couple different hits in of that, and we now have our drum groove. So next video, we are going to be adding in a vocal drop loop. I'll see you guys there.